All right, hello everybody. We are back again. Tuki here, joined by Sin. We are ready for our second showcase matchup of the day as Frölunda HC get ready to take on Djurgården Hockey. And Sin, one of those situations where again we saw a pretty dominant performance there by H-Reds. And it's an interesting setup here, right? Because at the top of the bracket, you have H-Reds and Frölunda kind of head to head, neck to neck, kind of really battling for that same spot. Meanwhile, HV71 and Djurgården again also battling to be out of that bottom spot. So interesting results and and how that can affect the standings here as they happen to be. And we'll get everybody a look at the standings as they happen to be here heading into this next matchup. Again, H-Reds now 22 games played out of 30, 5 points clear above Sawo. And again, now, Sin, there you see it. Look at that. 4 games at hand, 4 points back for Djurgården in terms of being in that bottom spot over Northern Ascendancy. Great opportunity here, even if you can just get a point for an overtime loss. That would be so helpful because, again, final match day of the season, those bottom two teams play one another, and what you could, envision, and as you mentioned, very well could be loser gets relegated.
Yeah, and this is the opportunity I think that Djurgården kind of need to steal a point out of a team like Frölunda, who self-admittedly, they have said they've had a tougher time adjusting to NHL 22 than some other teams had. It's been a bit slower going for them. Now, with that being said, past the midway point, at least for them in the season, you'd think they kind of really starting to sort of figure it out. But it's been a while since we've seen a roster and a team like Frölunda drop 3 games in regulation. So that's kind of, to their point of, they've had a bit of a tougher time adjusting here, but they do have those games in hand, and this is a terrific chance for them to make some of those points up and start to jump back up those standings.
And we'll mention here for Frölunda the schedule ahead. Conquer Gaming presumably wins. ZSC also outside the playoffs right now. Next Monday, we get to cover Frölunda and Havu. El Clasico of the Elite Division. Very excited for that one.
That matchup.
And then they play Goons and YMCA. So for London, not the easiest schedule in the world. A bit of a combination for them, and of course for HV71 or in the Djurgården situation that happens to be there. We talked about HV71, bit of a rough schedule, and for Djurgården as well, they still have to play Sawo this season. It's interesting. Very, very interesting to see how this is all going to play out. Again, the old link at NHLgamer.com still works, but of course, sportsgamer.gg for all the information there. You can continue to follow along on a day-by-day basis. It's constantly evolving, the standing situations. But with that, let's get you a look at the lineups heading into this matchup, as again, it is Djurgården Hockey taking on Frölunda HC. And Sin, we have a bit of an interesting change when it comes to the lineup here. It is nearly the Frölunda lineup you would expect, with Playmaker, Patzlaff, and Eki as the front three, Teemu Loimo on defense. But we are not going to see Kape between the pipes. It is their depth option this season in Tactors, who is making his first appearance in the Elite Division since Season 9. I had to look it up. We have covered his games in the past. He was a forward for Färjestad back in the day. Spent last season as a goalie in our core division with Mora. So he does have some experience in goal. Certainly, we're more familiar with him as a forward, but certainly intrigued to see what he can do in this matchup. We'll talk a little bit more about it in a minute. But for the Djurgården lineup as well, you have Shrumpon, Amadi, and Lord Stanley up front, Captain Jungle Donk, and Sveti on defense, Sorsa between the pipes. And we'll go to that center head-to-head matchup as we always do. It is at least someone who is tied for the team lead in points in Amadi with 15 on the season, going up against one of the most experienced centers in the league in Patzlaff. But Sin, not what you often expect to see. Patzlaff blown out of the water in terms of face-off percentage, and he has a 52.4% win percentage.
Yeah, Amadi has just been god tier in the face-off dot. There's really no other way to say it. I don't think we've seen someone really sustaining above 60% in the face-off dot for this amount of time. So Amadi really kind of has that with him. Now, Again, the issue for Djurgården has been, amongst other things, is they simply aren't getting enough scoring. All three of the forwards present here are sub point per game. Again, you want minimum point per game out of your forwards here in the ECL Elite. They simply aren't getting that. But again, if they could, kind of keep this Amity kind of a face-off percentage up, they could really find ways to get possession in some interesting areas and kind of be able to feed off that. The fact that they haven't capitalized on that, doesn't, look too good for their chances, as we've seen with their record. But that's just a huge, huge advantage that Amity has going into this matchup. But Potzloff, a very experienced guy, will probably start to suss out his tendencies and be able to counter him.
Sin, worth noting here as well, I had to go back and look, and I always like to refer to our preseason preview. Again, the captain's poll. Now, they were, Djurgården, that is, they were projected to finish dead last. Of course, they earned promotion last year, beating Team Leisure in the pro finals. Amity, though, was projected to be the team's starting right wing. Someone with prior elite experience, for sure, but interesting that someone who has a 63% win percentage, might not always be their full-time center. Certainly. Now, in fairness too, might have to ask the question: has he? How many face-offs has he taken? We'll see.
I didn't.
We'll see. Now that I see that information, we'll have to double check back into that. We'll move over to the winger matchup here, and this is where we see again for Frölunda, it is Playmaker and Eki, and again now Strumpon and Lord Stanley. And again, that brings me to that kind of projected lineup. Strumpon was a part of it. Lord Stanley wasn't really factored into the opening night lineup. It was supposed to be Mumsy who was there. So it's just an interesting changeover. You see 8 games played for Lord Stanley on the season as well. So Djurgården, for whatever reason, and admittedly we don't have the reasons and we're not going to speculate, but, making some changes to their lineup. And we've seen that for one reason or another from teams in the past when they're towards the bottom of the standings. And then, of course, for Frölunda, I mean, what can you say about Eki and Playmaker that we haven't said? And just, like, we've beaten that horse to death already, praising these two.
Yeah, but I have to beat it just a little bit more here because Eki is just having a phenomenal season. I mean, 25 goals. Again, he's in second for goals as we just saw the leading goal scorer in Villapoika. But also, at this point, 6 less games played as well. So plenty of time for Eki to begin to make his way up there. And that's a very scary shot percentage he has. He still only has those 54 shots. Pretty ridiculous. But you can see kind of here it's a chasm of difference between the wingers of Frölunda and the wingers right now of Djurgården, who are, as you mentioned, making a lot of lineup changes. They're trying to find a spark, trying to find something to dig themselves out of the basement here.
The defensive pairings here in this one again for Frölunda, Teemu and Loimu, Captain Jungle Donk alongside Sveti for Djurgården. And again, Sim, we see kind of the gulf in terms of the points produced. Again, Teemu and Loimu, 2 of the best in the Elite Division.
Yeah, and I mean, again, both at that point per game mark. When you have both your defensemen at the point per game mark, that's absolutely huge. Good kind of shot block totals from them as well. It just goes to show you how good kind of Frölunda is at clogging up, especially around the crease. Now, not a ton of goals from the Frölunda back end right there. In fact, it's exactly matching what Djurgården has brought to the table. Obviously, the point differential is huge, but Djurgården, getting looking to use their points quite a bit, and that's at least good, even though the points aren't quite there. At least they're getting the goal support from the back end as well. So again, Djurgården, it feels like they have the tools there. Just need to build on them and improve them and fine-tune them.
And again, our final head-to-head, it is the Battle of the Goaltenders for Frölunda. Again, Takters between the pipes, making his season debut, taking on Sorsa on the other side. Decent numbers for Sorsa so far this season, despite the record. And again, for Takters, played in our core division last season with Mora IK. Had nearly an 85% save percentage in 26 games. But, Sin, this is the biggest stage you could argue that he happened to have. Did play in the SCL in the 2021 campaign. Had a sub-80 save percentage on that attempt. But it's going to be an interesting moment here for him. Again, someone who we know more as a forward, at least from our experience in covering the ECL.
Yeah, so definitely kind of a big moment to sort of prove himself right here. And again, maybe even for Djurgården, a big moment to kind of, take it to someone who's stepping into a situation that, again, has a great team in front of him, but you never know what can kind of happen here. But that being said, Djurgården's goaltender, Sorsa, has an 80 save percentage. Now, that's kind of what we say you want to, that's your goal to get to as an ECL goaltender. The fact that he's doing that when his team is 3-10-2, he has played all 18 games for them as well. I mean, Sorsa is doing a great job, all things considered, here for this roster. 80% save percentage and just a 211 goals against. I mean, you could very much argue he's keeping his team in a position to win at as best as he can.
So again, everybody, we are just about ready to go for the start of the action. Again, here in the regular season, that home and home setup. Each team play each other twice for our 30-game campaign. Again, it is week 4. We are very much closing in on the end of this winter regular season. Again, a reminder, Sin and I will be here tomorrow as well. Same starting time, 1945 CET, covering a little bit more of the Elite Division action. You're not going to want to miss that. And again, a friendly reminder, every Tuesday, same time, our Pro Division coverage, the likes of King Lime and Tymo on the call. What's that? Sportsnet's Tymo? World famous. Congratulations, buddy. Sim, we get a look at the guys in the lobby here. And, again, some differences among some of the golds. You saw Eki with gold magnetic as we get a look there at our cast tomorrow, Goons, and the Swiss contingent, of course, of ZSC Esports. Färjestad taking on H-Reds. I'm ready for that one. That should be a very exciting matchup there as we get to see H-Reds in action one more time.
Yeah, and Färjestad, again, they were projected to sort of be much, much lower in the bracket than they are right now. They've really kind of come out with the lineup change that they've had and made the statement that they are still very much the playoff team and, a potential contender as well. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. That'll kind of be the litmus test for Färjestad.
Absolutely. A lot of departures for that squad, but they have done a tremendous job so far this season. The action is underway. Again, Djurgården hockey taking on Frölunda in their home red jerseys. And we'll see what happens in this particular matchup. A little bit of a different camera angle here.
Looks like zone.
We get the Djurgården host as Lord Stanley breaking his way into the zone. Pass in front. Good opportunity there taken away. Dish back now. Jungle Dog pinching in. Able to find Strumpon. Back to the point. D-to-D work shot. Good save there by Tactors. And a good early chance for Djurgården.
Yeah.
And testing the man making his season debut.
And that was very, good bit of passing there and a nice shot from Djurgården. Really wasted no time getting that puck to where it wanted. Obviously, D-to-D one-timers are big, and that's kind of the way that we see them coming out in NHL 22. It's a sort of a give and go between the 2 point men to kind of try to get the defense and, goals moving as laterally as possible and as back and forth as possible. It's just, as you mentioned, a good, solid save by Tactors, who didn't look out of place at all on his positioning right there.
Turnover here. Playmaker throws one on. Loose puck bouncing around. Sorsa able to find that one and able to make the cover. I do like that Estor had to point out that FBK are down against Sawo, as have been most of the teams that Sawo have played this season, in fairness, Estor. I will say, though, the check mark still looks good on you. Face-off here in the attacking zone for Frölunda, but we see the face-off one, and fortunately a follow-up turnover. Frölunda right back in on the attack. D-to-D, great block there by Strumpon. Loimu, a little bit of trouble, but he hangs on to it. Eki with options, goes down low. See what Playmaker can do. What a behind-the-back pass, and nearly found Eki back in front. Puck is cleared, though. Frölunda will look to reset.
That was absolutely gorgeous as he came around the net, kind of skirted the post, and was heading right to Eki's stick, but just didn't connect on it.
Eki one more time. Regains it. Loimu, Teemu, shot blocked down. See what Djurgården can get going again, and unfortunately, after a bit of a good start in terms of zone time, Frölunda kind of finding their footing, cutting out these attacks. We're already halfway through this first period. Lord Stanley, he has to drop that one back. Jungle Donk able to find Amity. Good pressure and a power play, though, coming up for Frölunda. It's going to be a slash. Did not see it, but it will be Amity, the centerman. And there you get another look at it. Big power play coming up here for Frölunda. Rough moment, perhaps, for Djurgården.
Yeah, he's just trying to keep that play alive on the boards, and that's often the best location to try a stick lift out. Just didn't work out, and we're going to see this Frölunda power play get to work.
Off the tie-up, face-off won by Djurgården. They are able to clear. Worth noting, Djurgården, the third-ranked penalty kill so far this season. Frölunda, though, the second-best power play, so dangerous for both teams here. Puck down low. Playmaker for Loimu. Now Teemu, back for Loimu, back to Teemu. Just testing the defense. Shot scores! Power play goal for Frölunda. Tremendous work on the man advantage. Teemu has the goal, his 4th of the season.
Just a really nice constructed power play right there from Frölunda. You know, all those kind of calculated passes on the blue line, presenting the threat, and then they work it back down low. And in that, Teemu sort of sneaks in to that drop-down defensive one-time position, blasts it home on the far side there. Just a clinical power play presence from Frölunda on that one, and they take the lead 1-0.
Great start there. An unfortunate moment for Djurgården. That PK percentage takes a little bit of a hit. We'll see how they respond again heading into today's action. You know, it's one of those things where you look at the schedule and you say, what are our highlighted games? And you never really know where the teams are going to be in the standings. It just so happens that we've had a man murdered behind the goal. Rest in peace. Shot attempt there for Strumpon's taken away. Just so happens to be Sine, a top team in both matchups, taking on a team towards the bottom half of the standings. But we've already seen some bright spots from Djurgården. And at times, we should note, too, that we've seen Frölunda struggle against some teams that maybe can't get them on the back foot as much. But then at the same time, we've seen Frölunda dominate teams towards the bottom half of the standings. Eki with the goal, it's 2-0.
I mean, what's becoming sort of a norm here, Eki in tight, close to the goal, picking up goals. No deflection, no rebound on that one. Just an excellent pass through traffic there, through the very, very low slot. And he guides that one in right there. Just excellent work from Frölunda down low to create that chance. And the excellent finish from the top goal scorer of Frölunda, Eki.
A great start to this game now for Frölunda. Again, looking to keep pace with some of the teams towards the top half of the standings. They enter this game currently 3rd in terms of points percentage behind H-Reds. And again, surprisingly, Savo. And again, as we heard, Savo, last we knew, had the lead on Färjestad. Final minute of play here. Strumpon, pass in front's broken up by Eki. Perhaps one more rush attempt here for Frölunda. Playmaker takes the hit. Eki for Loimu. Back for Eki. Couldn't get that pass through. 3 seconds to go. They will kill the clock. It is a 2-0 lead for Frölunda. The end of our opening 20 minutes.
Good start for them. Again, Djurgården had those few chances, and it looked like they were getting a bit of momentum. Then immediately, Frölunda just kind of answered the bell, started to strike back, and really get the chances that they want to get the zone time that they needed to take kind of Djurgården's attack out of it and just, take all the wind out of their sails, essentially, and to have that 2-0 lead as well after the first, it just presents Djurgården with a very, very tough opportunity to get back into it. But again, we've seen the potential there when they got those early chances. Unfortunately, as you see by the stats, they really haven't gotten much after that, and no registered shots after that first D-to-D one-timer here. Get a look at the last goal coming out from Frölunda here, as it was that's the first one. The Playmaker dished that one back to Teemu there, and that was just beautiful on the power play look. And this is the one. Playmaker once again gets that backhand, just a perfectly placed pass, just with the slightest amount of space to make it work, and he rockets it over, and finished off by Eki. So Playmaker being the playmaker out there for his team so far, and looking good doing it.
Second period underway. Let's see what Djurgården can do as they try to get back into this one again for Frölunda. 12-3-1 on the season. They've been a little bit behind the games played pace pretty much all season long. Zeki has this one, sends it down low, pass in front, just broken up. Turnover there again, similar to HV71, Djurgården in their first elite season. And you find out just how difficult it is to hang in this division. What a poke check, though, to break that one up. So you find out just how difficult it is to hang in this division when you run up against a team that has won a championship like Frölunda has on a couple of occasions now.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a good kind of test, and you want to remain in this division so that you can adjust to the higher level play, so that you can get better. Obviously, that's the ultimate goal here. And again, Djurgården not looking completely out of place here in this matchup.
Playmaker in possession, finds Eki. Times it well with Potslav. Loimu to Playmaker, actually, at the point still. Teemu pinching in. That shot again, blocked down by the men in front. Amadi trying to bull rush his way into the zone. Runs out of space. Stretch pass. Playmaker in all alone. Scores! How many times have we said that, Sin, in our ECL division coverage? Playmaker makes it 3-0 with that breakaway goal.
Yeah, and seemingly out of nowhere that happens. An excellent stretch pass up. Playmaker goes 5-hole there on Sorsa, who, again, did a decent job of staying in position. But when you get in tight like that, Playmaker knew what to do, shoots low, and puts that one home.
Playmaker, one of the top point getters that we have seen in our time covering this division. And he's in all alone again! And that one goes underneath the netminder, shot on, and Source is able to make the cover. I was about to say, a little bit behind the point pace, or the goal pace, excuse me, that we expect to see from Playmaker. That was his 14th of the year, and then he almost had his 15th.
Yeah, and just like that, in two quick sequences, a Playmaker gets behind the defense right there. Again, yeah, you are down in this game. You got to take some chances, but you also got to try to prevent, at least the easy chances coming back from Frölunda. Got to make them work for it. Got to continue to give you and keep yourself in a position to be able to come back. 3 goals, it's not unobtainable here. You just got to, as best as you can, stop the bleeding, get a goal yourself, and more importantly, prevent Frölunda from getting any easy chances.
It is Frölunda right back in on the attack. Great possession from Potslav. Driving to the net. Amadi gets absolutely run over by Playmaker. Saying he can do it all. Pass now up to Eki. 7.5 to go here in the second period. Again, the first game of 2 between these two teams in their regular season matchup. Teemu shot save by Sorsa. It's dominating of a performance from Frölunda as we would expect to see. And again, just tremendous work all around. Teemu shot, another stop by Sorsa.
It looks like it might have kind of deflected off Sveti right there, maybe off his stick, some incidental contact. Sorsa still able to make the save a bit deeper in his crease right there. But yeah, Djurgården got to work to get this puck out.
Face off, they have it. Uncle Donk having to play that one safe. Knew the pressure was there. And as mentioned now, 5 minutes to go here in the second period. ECL Elite Division action brought to you by our friends at Wilhelm and Koblan-Lockwood CST Hockey as well. You are watching former champions in Frölunda HC taking on a team new to our top tier here in the Elite Division in Djurgården. And so far the score reflects that fact, and what a shot! Playmaker does get that second goal. In fact, what a snipe! 4-0 Frölunda.
And I really like this. We saw it first from Havu and Flyer Kungen, but now we're seeing it from Frölunda. They're really utilizing that puck protect, which obviously was tweaked and is much, much different than it's worked in the past. You can keep your speed up in a huge, huge way, and really that's what Playmaker did right there. And maybe Sorsa, I wouldn't say he was necessarily off the angle, but maybe the tiniest bit of gap was for him, because he would have thought Playmaker taking it around the net. He just puck guarded it, looking like he was just going to keep that speed up and go around the horn, so to speak, but rifled it to the short side and scored.
Another chance, that one off the post. 4-0 in favor of Frölunda. And still plenty of time for this one to get worse. Here's Playmaker nearly weaving his way through the defense. Betty now has it for Djurgården. Again, we talked about it. Djurgården at least getting to overtime would be huge for them. Try and stave off relegation. Fortunately, they might already have to be looking ahead to that second game. But Sin, as we've mentioned, goal differential can play a big factor. It is 4-0 in favor of Frölunda at the end of the second period. And Sim, we will get another look at at least one of the 2 goals from Playmaker that we saw, and it will be that snipe.
Yeah, again, just the way he utilized that puck protect was very good. Not only, again, did it do its job in protecting the puck, but at least to me, I thought for sure, like right here, okay, he's going to go around the net. Nope. He stops and shoots, and you could see Sorsa just a little bit coming off that post. It wasn't much. It wasn't much of a move. In fact, he may have even been animated a little bit as he began to adjust to the probability of Playmaker circling around and looking for that wrap chance with, the speed that he had, and that stretch pass coming up the send Playmaker on the breakaway was just absolutely beautiful, and he puts it 5-hole right there as Sorsa was looking to adjust as he was going to the backhand, slid it right under him. Just what a performance here from Playmaker, who, yeah, you said it, perhaps doesn't have the goal totals that we're necessarily used to. He's looking to make up for it right here in this matchup.
It's the third period about ready to go. Very excited to see how this one plays out. Again, you see a dominating scoreline and you say, okay, where's the intrigue? But just knowing the effect that this can have on the standings for both. Again, Frölunda trying to chase down Sawo, trying to chase down H-Reds, and Djurgården knowing that any goal could ultimately be the difference maker for them by the end of this 30-game regular season. As it is Playmaker on a brace in this game, and that one just doesn't find its way through, at least on the rebound attempt. So we will have an icing call here against Djurgården.
Yeah, it looked like he was trying to kind of get a nice bounce off of the wall, almost like a very, very long saucer pass. Just a little bit out of the reach right there. They weren't able to connect on it, but I do like Djurgården with the creativity, trying to figure out a way to get this puck into the zone with some space.
Well, trying to test Takters, who again making his elite debut in goal, again formerly of Färjestad back in the day as a forward, over a point per game forward as well. As Sveti for Djurgården, the shot, great block by Loimu. Djurgården were able to test Takters back in the first period. Not too many chances since. As Eki wins that back, Patslav back to Eki, short side, shrugged off by Sorsa. Puck down low, Playmaker's there, still fighting for it. Sveti has it for the moment. Again, good pressure from Eki. Eki with the bump. Patslav, Eki, saved by Sorsa on the short side bid.
Yeah, good pass right there. You can definitely tell he thought about passing that one over to Playmaker, rips the shot instead, and Sorsa this time able to come up with a save and get the smother.
There's Djurgården back in possession, and again, the risk I take in saying that. Patslav looking, scores! All 3 forwards involved in the fun now for Frölunda. 5-0 the scoreline here in the third period.
Patslav getting involved. That will be, I believe, his 7th goal of the season here, and nice time to get it as that one just kind of finds its way in. But when you keep getting shots from that in close, from those sort of locations, it can be tough for a goaltender to make all those saves. Those are A-grade shot locations coming out from Frölunda. And again, it's coming from them being able to keep the puck in the zone. Very similar to the last matchup when H-Reds sort of sussed out their opponent, began to find the weaknesses, and then exploit them. That's exactly what Frölunda has done here, and with the way they're able to keep this puck into the zone once again.
As Sveti has it here for Djurgården, down 5-0 now. Here in this third period, tough day as we expected it to be. Playmaker just misses high on the glove side. Charge to the front of the goal. Amadi able to find that pass up to Strumpon. Again, just nowhere to go, Sin. They're trying so hard to find this breakthrough. They do end up taking a penalty here. Frölunda to the power play for the second time in this game. Amadi to the box.
Yeah, I think they're kind of, between a rock and a hard place. Our Djurgården, you can't really rush the breakout, but the more time that you give Frölunda to adjust, the more time they'll surround you, cut off your passing options, and you get into that neutral zone, they just completely collapse around. You can be going back the other way so quickly, and we'll see their power play go to work again.
Play move for Teemu, that one broken up. Playmaker As it knocked down low. Lord Stanley. Pass over to the defender who clears this one out. Nearly halfway through the Frölunda power play here. Lima takes the hit and an offside call. So now, if you are Djurgården, we really are down to the point where just a goal would certainly help.
Yeah.
If not, though, at least try to minimize the damage that might still be on its way here with 8 minutes to go.
Yeah, and that can be obviously a tough situation here as you see them just try to clear it out. Obviously, they'd love to get the goal and try to get any sort of chances they want with the time remaining. It's just not realistic for the comeback here. But yeah, I mean, a goal would be huge. Again, they started off pretty good. It's just since then, Frölunda figured it out and adjusted, and, well, they're just completely dictating the pace and dominating this game.
Václav's pass broken up, loose puck, another penalty called. Frölunda will go back to the power play, the 1 for 2 in this game. That's if they need it. Eki somehow has this without Djurgården getting a piece of it. Takters is out, and again, competent forward. Shot on, stopped by Sorsa, and finally Djurgården able to get a piece of it. It'll be an interference call, and this time out, Sveti takes a seat for that bump.
That's unfortunate. I mean, it wasn't a bad attempt at a hit right there. Just the player didn't quite get possession of the puck there, so it does count as the interference. As we've mentioned, those bumps, pretty much anywhere, a lot more. They'll get called a heck of a lot more.
Here's Playmaker. Václav. Great movement here. Teemu tried to go back to Václav. A little bit too much traffic. Playmaker. One-timer, big save, and it's in! How bad of a break can you get? Eki with the goal on the power play. Their second power play goal of the night. Heartbreaker for Sorsa. There's nothing more you can do as a netminder.
No, he did everything he was supposed to do right there. Slid over, made the initial save, and like his animation, I think, kind of knocked the puck back in. That's unfortunate. But when it rains, it pours, and yeah, for Sorsa again, that's really hard because that's a premier goal scorer over there that he adjusted to, made the initial save off the one-timer. It still somehow trickled in.
6-0 now the scoreline. 4 minutes to play here. Again, game 2 coming up between these two teams. Perhaps much to Djurgården's chagrin. As Teemu nearly finds Playmaker again. Václav gives chase, chops it away. Strumpon. I respect it. The quick stop and pass attempts. Lord Stanley drives the net. That one off the side of the goal. As Teemu is able to recover for Frölunda. Turns it over. Here's Strumpon. Still fighting for it, and perhaps in maybe just a shot on goal to test Takters, which they haven't been able to do. Might have sufficed. That one off the side of the goal. Final minute here of the third period. Frölunda not letting up. Playmaker. Teemu, glove save by Sorsa. He will play it out. Let's see what they can do here on this rush. Lord Stanley to Strumpon. That one off the pad of Takters. He will play it out. Keeps that clock ticking. Djurgården chases this one down. 30 seconds here, perhaps. A pass. Playmaker. I was going to say perhaps we might have one more goal for Frölunda here with the pressure they're putting on. Nearly swept in. Shot scores! Ask and you shall receive. Teemu has another goal in this game, if I'm not mistaken, Sin, with just 16 seconds to go. Frölunda add to their lead.
Yeah, and that was 4 men relatively down low for Frölunda there. Still looking to score. Doesn't matter the time left on it. Again, we said it. Good teams always keep their foot on the gas, especially when, as you mentioned, things could, seeding, etc., could come down to that goal differential. And that's, unfortunate break there for Djurgården, but they just haven't been able to generate much of anything. They haven't been able to prevent Frölunda from doing what they want to do.
One more chance to flex wide. Takters, in his first Elite Division game in goal, records the shutout. Frölunda, dominant performance. Kape, watching from the press box, smiling like a proud dad.
Yeah, absolutely he would be. And again, good performance from Frölunda as well. And you could see just kind of, what they wanted they wanted how badly they wanted that shutout there from Tactors at the end. They defended around him very, very well. They didn't have to defend in their own zone too much, as they were so good at intercepting things into neutral, keeping the puck in, in the offensive zone, that it just, Tactors didn't have to face a whole heck of a lot of pressure. And if you're Djurgården, you have to be able to apply pressure to him. You had to be able to try to get to him, test him early, test him whenever you could, because now you've given him a shutout. You've given him that confidence here going into this second game. And with how Frölunda's playing in front of him as well, those chances, I think, from here on out are just going to be that much tougher to get. We're going to have to see a big response from Djurgården to really even be able to get a goal in this next game.
Again, the final score, unfortunately for Djurgården, much worse than a 4-0 final. The teams towards the bottom half of our, and if not outright beyond the bottom half, in our relegation spots right now. Very unfortunate result. A 3-save shutout for Tactors en route to a 7-0 victory for Frölunda. I assume we should get a look at some of the highlights here, some of the goals from this one.
Yeah, it wasn't a particularly busy game for Tactors in net, but I'd say that first one needed to stop was probably the best chance. Nice pokes. Just incredible work to just stay with that puck right there by Potzloff and be able to shoot that as crosses. It looks like Djurgården definitely perhaps wondering why they didn't have a bit of a better result on their defensive efforts on that play.
There were 2 goals. Bare minimum 2 goals that you have to look at and say that is just highly
that one especially. How does that, just for Sorsa, what a play by him to get over for that one time, perfectly positioned for it, gets a stick, hits the pad, and then as he does that kind of automatic adjustment, that's what knocks the puck in. It's literally no fault of Sorsa. He played that one beautifully, and he should have been rewarded with the highlight reel save. And the fact that it went in is just a bit unfortunate. Of course, it wouldn't have really changed the outcome of this game at the end of the day, but for Sorsa, that's it's got to be frustrating in a game that you're already losing pretty heftily to have something like that kind of go in after you do, kind of make that initial effort on the play and in that power play or penalty, at least for him, the penalty kill situation. So for Djurgården, a frustrating game in many different ways, but they got to try to put that behind them here and come out in this next one and again try to at least secure that 1 point, because at this point, every little tiny sliver of hope for Djurgården means so much.
So again, we will be back after a brief word from our sponsors to set the stage for our 4th and final game of this broadcast. Frölunda and Djurgården coming up. Djurgården, probably again not liking that I have to say that, or facing the reality that they're currently facing, but we'll see what they can do. Again, more than the capable team. We'll see what adjustments they make. We'll talk about it on the other side of this quick little break. We'll be right back.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
Lähdetään haastamaan yhdellä yhtä vastaan. Loistava nälkäisen pelaajan ratkaisu, ohi mennään. Luukulla ollaan valmiina. Ja sitten katsotaan, kaikki kestää. Vanhanaikaisella kiekkolapaa, ilmaveivi, klassikko, maali! Wilhelm vei todella komeasti nakkikioskille. Wernerin nakki on loistava vahvistus Wilhelm joukkueelle.
All right, and again, a big shout out to the likes of Wilhelm, Kouvolan Lakritsi, and ST Hockey for sponsoring this season. Again, our winter season of the Elite Division, our brand new format here with the ECL. Spring season, going to be here before you know it. Grand Final, going to be here before you know it. Since it's February already, it's going to be 2023 before you know it. It's ridiculous. Regardless, for sure, Gordon, I bet they wish it was a little bit further ahead in the future. Again, they do have to take on Frölunda one more time. Is it just as simple as a strategy of just, hey, throw pucks on net? I mean, just something, anything. I mean, we saw it in that last game for Frölunda. Throw pucks on net. You never know when a goalie's going to make a great save effort and still have it go in.
I would say, yeah. At least, we kind of saw it from Djurgården in the beginning, and then they simply weren't able to really gain the line with much efficiency after that. But it's, at the same breath, it can be tough for them, because when you get that initial shot, Frölunda's so good at kind of closing people out away from those loose pucks, and on the flip side, so good at getting to those loose pucks in the offensive end. I think when you're Djurgården, you almost feel like it's a wasted opportunity, but you got to try something. Obviously, what happened in the first game wasn't working, so it's try something else. Maybe that's what it'll take. At least if you leave it up to bounces, seemingly you have a slightly better chance of just outright beating Frölunda to some of those loose pucks. Create some more bounces, and you might get a few of them favorable and be able to beat Tactors in net.
Yeah, and a reminder, of course, so much going on around the Elite Division. And look at some of our latest results from around the league. Again, earlier on, we covered the series between HV71 and H-Red. Since then, we have Goons pulling off the double over Urabro to really kind of solidify their playoff push. YMCA splitting games with Roots, and so far we have the first results from each of these two matchups. It was Granite shutting out IQ, and Sabo doing the same to Ferrystad.
Yeah, and that's pretty big right now as we saw that Ferrystad, trying to, again, in that playoff position, pretty firmly in there, but obviously each point's important when it comes to seeding, and Sabo continuing to prove against these top teams that they definitely belong where they was. It's no fluke. Sabo is the real deal, and I mean, to beat Ferrystad like that's absolutely massive. Granite as well, getting the shutout against IQ, another team battling, jockeying for the playoff positions as well.
IQ right now hovering around the 6 to 7 spot in the standings, depending on what you look at, whether or not it's outright points or points percentage. Granted in that mix, Goons in that mix as well. Pressure on the likes of Roots Gaming now moving forward in ZSE Esports as you get a look at the updated standings. And again, while I mentioned it off of points percentage, you might have Frölunda actually in third, but still, the teams on the left-hand side of the bracket are in the playoffs as it stands. If the season were to end right now, they would be our top 8. The seeding would shift a little bit. But Sin, I mean, that gets you to the point where a team like Roots, 23 points through 22 games, and indeed, again, that could be a situation that we've seen before. 1 point could be the difference between a team making the playoffs and not at this stage. That is how close this division tends to be.
Yeah, and especially towards the bottom, as you mentioned, that kind of the bubble location, ZSC still well within that. They got 4 games in hand on Roots Game and just 3 points behind them. They have, a good showing in a couple series here and there. They're right back in there. Could even get beyond Goons, who unfortunately for them do have the same amount of games played, but then Granite right above them with the 21 right now, 24. It's all up in the air right now, and there's so much more hockey left. I mean, not as much hockey left to play, but there's so much that could happen with the remaining games.
Again, left-hand side of the brackets where you want to be to make the playoffs. 13th, 14th, and 15th. If you finish there, you got to fight for your survival against one of the better Pro Division teams. 16th, automatically relegated, but you see the points paces, the point pace that is theirs, and it's still very, very close despite the amount of games played differential. It's just a matter of these teams making the most of the opportunity of the games at hand that they have. And again, a little bit of a delay here in terms of getting these two teams matched up due to some technical issues on the video game side of things, but we are just about ready to go for this next game as you get a look at, again, the prize pool that these teams are all playing for here in this elite division. Of course, a total 33,000 euros going to be handed out, of course, to the winners by the end of this. And so, as you can see, just being a semi-finalist, it certainly does pay out at least a little bit. Obviously, when you spread it across the team, it's certainly not as nice as the max 6K euros for the end of it, but still, so much to play for. Not just, of course, the championship spot paying out as we are underway. It is Djurgården in the home primary blue jerseys, of course. Frölunda in their road whites. Game 2 underway. And we'll see what happens here. Sin, it's one of those situations for Djurgården where it's like, well, I mean, for the most part, it's tough to have as unfortunate of a result as you did in that first game, as Source is able to make an early cover.
Yeah, and again, it's just, if you can get off to a better start, if you can get that first goal, yeah, obviously Frölunda is going to push back in a huge way, but that kind of puts you in a situation where you weren't in before, and it will present kind of new opportunities. It's just, if you have a lead, how would they play with a lead right here? And that's what I'd love to see from Djurgården. Just really work. Don't get in a hole early and just try to get that first goal.
Absolutely. So here we go. Early attacking bid taken away. Good hit at the blue line there. It's an offside call. A little bit of the rough stuff to follow. Still waiting for what would be the second line brawl. in our time covering this lovely league that we have the privilege of covering. Get closer to the end of the season. That's a penalty there. Power play coming up for Djurgården. Off of the charging call, it will be Eki going to the box.
Yeah, not could have been that or hit from behind or boarding, but it ends up being
Could have been
charging.
a 5.
Yeah. Not so often we see Eki headed to the box right here, but this is what I mentioned. This is the opportunity Djurgården needs to get the advantage in this game, get that first goal.
The 15th ranked power play of Djurgården going up against a top half PK, tied for 6th entering play today. Good chance, second chance, puck still loose. And Takter's able to make the save. And we're going to have an interference call as well. So it's going to be 5-on-3 as Loimu goes to the box for that late bump.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate for him. That was as good of a defensive play as it could be, just maybe a little bit late, as you mentioned. A nice job by the skater on the edge and just kind of throw that puck back on net. But yeah, 5-on-3 here. This faceoff so important, he wins it.
Great opportunity here. Sveti for Djurgården, back to him. Block in front. Lord Stanley back for Sveti. Djurgården, save by Takters. Strumpon, they're finding success with these point shots. That pass off the mark, one back by Lord Stanley. Sinma, I didn't even notice that switch. Lord Stanley, from the looks of it, unless I'm going colorblind here, has made the switch back to center where he's more expected to be. Amadi moving to that right-hand side.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that. You were absolutely correct on that, yeah. And they do have 7 seconds left, but unfortunately, it will be a neutral zone faceoff. They can still get it and still establish themselves, but yeah, just maybe a bit of a missed opportunity on that 5-on-3, but great saves coming out from Takters.
Absolutely. So we continue on here. One man out of the box, a slap shot to the throat. Fine way to spend a Wednesday. So a short-handed bid there for Potzloff off the skate of the goaltender Sorsa. We are back to 5-on-5. Missed opportunity on that 5-on-3. Not for a lack of chances, though, for Djurgården.
Yeah.
Icing call here.
They had plenty of looks, and I like that. And they weren't afraid to just blast the puck sometimes as well. Again, looking for the bounces, looking for the rebounds, looking to maybe just beat Takters. But he stood tall right there, made the saves he needed to with the extra space out there. His players defended well, boxed him out as best as they could, and they killed off the penalty.
Chance there on the short side for Playmaker again. Now Amadi on that right-hand side. Then we did look at that face-off winning percentage, saying, how many games has he played at center? Didn't think he did that poorly, but again, wanting to try a different look for Djurgården, and I can't blame them. There's a willingness to adapt after a blowout loss in that first game. We're nearly halfway through this first period. Again, ECL Elite Division action. You can see every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday right here on Sports Gamer GG. SportsGamerGG.com. As it is Amadi able to get that to Strumpa, and that is true, SportsGamer.gg. So used to the NHLGamer.com sin that we covered for so long.
Yeah.
This one's dumped in, 7.5 minutes to play now. And a bit of a more methodical pace to this one as opposed to that frantic pace that really did benefit Frölunda in Game 1, Sin.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this will benefit Djurgården just a bit more. They would feel a little bit more in control. When you're feeling slightly more in control, you're more or less prone to mistakes right here, as they do have a bit of a miscommunication at the line and will go offside. But it's a small victory in itself that the game is still tied at this point. They've had, they had the power play opportunity that went by the wayside, but they're still in a position where they could get that advantage. That's, again, a victory in itself against this Frölunda team.
Is Frölunda in possession, a dump and chase, which we've seen as more of an emerging strategy on the ECL side of things, certainly more prevalent in North America over the past couple of years. Playmaker trying to hold on to this one down low. Double team pressure still Frölunda. I was going to say they still have it. The puck died in terms of momentum. Loimu throws one on. Deflection bid for Eki. Stopped by Sorsa. Eki, that premier net front presence, I would argue, in all of competitive sixes esports.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody
Absolutely.
else I've seen with the way he posts up in front.
No, and he can be so, either he just bullies his way there, or he's so surreptitious and sneaky in the way he's able to get there. He almost goes unnoticed, which is how do you let Eki go unnoticed? Well, that's just sometimes how good he is. He's just always kind of adjusting himself, always moving with the flow, away from the flow at times to throw off the defensive scheme.
Betty for Jungle Donk at the point, gets stuck on the backhand, circles back, drops down the board, Strumpon, slap shot, good save by Tactors. Here's Amadi, has it poked away. Final minute of play here in this opening period. Is Frölunda back in control, though. Space here now, perhaps. On the step-up, Jungle Dog. Pass saved by Tactors. Maybe just a little bit too predictable, I would say, with the defenseman electing the pass. But what a great save by Tactors regardless. We will get a look at a Sorsa save as well. It's in good performance for both goaltenders in that first period.
Yeah, I mean, maybe slightly predictable was the play that came out, but it's still hard to be able to adjust to and make the save on. Tactors did a great job right there. I think Jungle Dunk, I don't know if he would have been able to get a great shot with where he was. He had the, obviously the stick on the inside positioning there, so utilizes the stop and go to sort of hopefully try to get someone over pursuing. We're going to get another look at it right here. He could have maybe pulled the stick over, but as you can see from the back checker, yeah, exactly. The back checker had that defensive skill stick out. That puck still almost found its way in. Tactors adjusted as best as he could. That maybe just didn't get the aim that Strumpin wanted right there. So you can see it kind of goes to the opposite side. Perhaps, I got to think that he didn't quite get the aim on it as he wanted, or yeah, it's just unfortunate. Again, good move by Tactors there. There was some space on that short side, but Strumpin just wasn't able to bury it.
Good call, Sin, on that play, developing the way that it did. Second period underway here again. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sin, 7-0 in favor of Frölunda in that first game. So far, so good from Djurgården. Again, we've seen that. I mean, even today we had Havu go to overtime against Conquer Gaming. They ended up winning that, but these teams that are outside looking in terms of the playoffs and that might even be in a relegation battle, they can manage to, nick a couple of points away here and there from these top teams.
Yeah, and again, Frölunda, I've got to say, I won't say they'd be too angry at themselves, but they're probably expecting by this point to have a goal in this game against this team. A good bit of pushback here from Djurgården to be able to prevent that so far.
Good poke check there by Jungle Dog, battling with Loimu. This stage for Djurgården, I mean, you're not exactly looking at the clock, but the more time it takes away and the faster it does so, the better for you. There's the quick out. Great bounce. Strumpon scores! Djurgården strike first. What a heads-up play. 1-0 to the underdogs.
Beautiful, beautiful job from them. Beautiful job to make the read right there as you saw Tactors a bit afraid to over-pursue to that right-hand side. Strumpin takes what's available and puts it home on the backhand there. Beautiful play by Djurgården. Kind of, getting that Strumpin just jetting towards the zone. A perfect slap pass off the boards. Far enough away so that the goaltender couldn't go out and get it. And it bounces well enough so that Strumpin could pick it up, and 1-0 for Djurgården. Excellent play. Going to be a massive bit of pushback here in the next couple minutes from Frölunda.
His team leading 10th of the season. Good kick save there by Sorsa. Saw that one through the traffic. Eki strips him of the puck. Playmaker. Can't get that shot through. Good layers in defense. Frölunda certainly putting the pressure on. That one blocked. Here is Teemu around the back. Nearly got that pass back. Has it now. Playmaker covering for him at the point. Short side bid doesn't go. And indeed, Frölunda turning it up a couple of notches here. Penalty called, though. It will be a Djurgården power play.
Wow. They survived. They survived the pressure. And yeah, they're going to take their time and reset here. I don't know if we'll see the goaltender going to the... Oh, he's going right now, so he will be going to the bench, but unfortunately won't quite get there as the puck was poked off at the blue line, and the whistle will be blown, and that will be Potzlaff going to the box. Now, it is their center, but the right winger will step in, and Eki, as talented as he is, as good as he is in the ones side of things, will be no stranger to taking draws here.
Power play bid. Let's see how this one plays out. They look really good on their previous power play. Strumpon has it, can't hold it. Amadi nearly shoveled that one home on the backhand. just had that shot disrupted. Loimu goes down on the trip, though, and just 29 seconds into the man advantage, we have an equalizing penalty.
That's unfortunate right there. Yeah, that's a kind of a rough, I wouldn't say a rough poke. It was not a bad time to poke there for Amity. Just kind of the stick went towards the skates right there, as can sometimes happen. So they negate their own advantage right here and more space out there. We'll have to take a defensive zone draw as well.
As Amity's third penalty of the night as well. Someone playing hard, trying to do what he can to help keep up with the incredible obstacle in the form of the opposition that they face here. With Frölunda, and a great effort there by Lord Stanley. Don't know if he would have thrown himself offside or if it was the winger joining the play that ultimately caused that.
Yeah, I think it would have been Jungle Dunk right there, because he was actually trying to come in on the same side. Oh, it might have been right. It might have been the winger on the opposite side of the ice, too. I couldn't quite see.
Honestly, we're trying to adjust it, I think, a little bit with this camera angle. I like it.
Yeah.
But, you know, some of the colors are a little bit more
I'm
faded
used to
from
it.
distance.
Yeah. This is what I believe this is zone, and this is what I play on. Some people don't like it because you can see too much of the crowd, but it's enough of an overhead style, and you get to see a bit more detail on the players and such like that.
Face-offs now 11-5 in favor of Djurgården. They are about to be on the PK for all of 29 seconds, as fortunately Lord Stanley gets absolutely floored as he tried to cross the blue line. We'll have another face-off here. But again, what a result this would be for Djurgården. Heading down the stretch would be just their fourth win of the season, but obviously we have a long way to go. So valuable points up for grabs for both teams. There's the quick out again on the PK. Interesting bounce. We're back to 5-on-5. And again, Sim, I think we'd have to look it up, and I'm very intrigued to know when's the last time this Frölunda unit wouldn't have been one of the top 2 seeds heading into the playoffs. Although part of me feels like, what was last year? It's one of those things we're gonna have to look up. As Loimu, what a chance! What a goal! What a pass from the defenseman, finds Eki in front, and just like that, Frölunda tie it up at 1 apiece. Eki strikes again.
Yeah, and I was just kind of thinking, just going to mention, we've seen Frölunda have some games like this against some teams who are perceivably not on the same level as they are, and not be able to score, and they would lose like a 2-1, or like they'd drop something in overtime. Think back to last season in the playoffs, where they, I think, dropped 2 games to, was it Northern Ascendancy, or maybe that was a couple seasons ago? I can't remember, but, seemingly where they kind of, have lost to these teams that are just simply not been able to score against those type of teams, but here they are right back on the attack. They may not be done.
Playmaker has it here. Gets it to Potzloff. 5.5 to play here in the second. That would tie a game at 1 apiece. That puck bouncing around. Source able to find it and cover.
Djurgården not out of this game by any means, obviously, with the tie, but just in the sense of the momentum. Yes, there's been a pretty large pushback from Frölunda, maybe even a little bit of desperation coming out from them, but I like what Djurgården's doing and trying to capitalize on that with the counterattack. They're just playing a very smart game right now against Frölunda, and that's kind of, I think, going to be their best bet on the chance to get a point or a chance for a victory.
Offside with 4:14 to go. Sin, I had to look it up. Last season, of course, under a different name, but Frölunda, number 1 at the end of the regular season, 28-0-2. ECL 11, 28-1-1, number 1 seed. ECL 10, second seed at 26-3-1. And ECL 9, which I believe was our first season, 27-2-1, the number 1 seed. We have only seen them go as low as second. Aside from that, they've been the number 1 seed every single year. And with what H-Reds and Sawo are doing, that is certainly not a guarantee this year.
No, far from a guarantee right now, is especially, even Färjestad and Havu up there as well. It's just, it can go any different direction. The way, we've seen some of these plays in different sort of matchups there, as Playmaker tries to sneak that one across the slot again for Eki to bounce home. It may be that there's so much competitiveness and parity in this division now, especially near the top, that we're going to see a lot of different combinations in the seeding moving forward. And that's always great to see. Just a couple seasons ago, teams were like, we ever going to see, other than Havu and, Frölunda in the finals here? Well, we definitely have seen that already, as well as a new champion. And now even more teams competing.
That one broken up. That'll bring us to the end of the second period 1-1 the score line here, as you'll get a look at the attempt here, and the goal actually from Strumpon that broke the tie. Again, Eki, the tying goal. But Sin, you're right. To that point, to continue that conversation, we heard it. Oh, it's Havu or Frölunda until they break up. Until those teams completely dissolve and all the players essentially go their separate ways, that's all we're going to see.
And
now we have
came a spider.
we have seen some changes to the Frölunda and Havu lineups over the years, but not enough to lead to that. Ultimately, again, H-Reds winning the title last year, and we have seen, again, the emergence of some very competitive teams this season. But Sin, how about that? Just 5 shots for Frölunda so far in this game.
Yeah, that's a win in itself for Djurgården there. They've done a much, much better job of being able to contain it. Look at that face-off differential as well. Lord Stanley, 15-6, doing an excellent job in the dot here. And I think that adjustment is kind of a big part of it between Amadi and Lord Stanley swapping places right there. Obviously, they saw something that they could have had a bit of an advantage on it. They've certainly done that. So I'd say that has gone a pretty decent way to at least keeping Frölunda from being able to gain the momentum that they want and allowing Djurgården to sort of get the counterattacks going.
There's Frölunda in possession here early on. That shot saved by Sorsa, bouncing around. Djurgården able to recover. Again, this is our final game of the day here at Sports Gamer, but a reminder, 19:45 CET tomorrow. That's about 1:45 p.m. Eastern for those of you on the North American side of things. We will be back here with more games to cover. Again, full details coming up upon the conclusion of this contest. But make sure you're following the channel if you haven't already. That shot saved by Sorsa, and again, good job by Djurgården to handle a dangerous rebound situation. Amadi went for the cross-ice sauce. Too many sticks in the lane. Amadi, though, with the interception. Strumpon, pass across off the mark for Stanley. Amadi, a water bug. He's all over the place right now. That shot, again, blocked by the traffic in front. Some decent possession time, though, for Djurgården. Certainly a little bit more hectic as compared to Frölunda. With that just relentless pace that we have seen, again, from the former champions. But Sin, hectic might be their key to success. Lord Stanley nearly found his way through.
Yeah, I was going to make a point, then I was going to hold my breath right there as Lord Stanley looked like he could have split the D. An excellent poke coming out from the defense. Nice chop right there as well. I believe that was Loimu batting that over to his defensive partner to sort of negate the forechecking presence that could have come out from Djurgården there.
Pressure here by Eki in the double team. Potzloff there to help him. Goes to Loimu. Potzloff again down low. Takes the hit. Great pressure by Djurgården. Can they hit Amadi on the stretch pass? Mistimed. Miscommunication as well. We're already halfway through this third period. Incredible pace. Here's Playmaker now. That pass in front, bouncing around, finds its way to Lord Stanley. They'll send it around. Good dump and chase effort. They're going to win that race to the puck. A rocket pass, though, right into the awaiting hands of Eki. Now Playmaker, great cut to the inside. Pass in front broken up. Playmaker still has it. Trying to hold on. Bouncing puck. That one's shoveled wide by Eki. Again, Playmaker down low. Looking. Pass off the mark. Back to the neutral zone, but a delayed call against Djurgården. Just over 7 minutes to play here in the third, and perhaps as Tactor's going to the bench. Again, someone with forward experience in the elite division. They're going to wait it out and try to let him get to the front of the goal here as well. Playmaker for Lehman. Playmaker, big blocker stop by Sorsa. Bouncing around. Potzloff still has it. Down for Tactors. Banks it off the back of the goal. Eki for Loimu for Playmaker. Stepping in. Loimu. Potzloff in front. Save Eki. Denied on a no-look shot. And one more save by Sorsa will finally bring that face-off for London to the power play. As one more time, it will be Sveti to the box.
Wow, I mean, that was just incredible amounts of pressure coming out from Frölunda with the 6-on-5. We'll see what they're able to do here on the 5-on-4. That looked scary. Djurgården a bit in survival mode here.
Indeed, Eki for Playmaker. Set play. Loimu's shot blocked. Can Djurgården survive this? Teemu has it now. Goes around for Potzloff. Playmaker. Trying to step his way in. Pass across. Great defense to break that up. Strumpon has it and gets the clear, even though it banked off of Eki. Halfway through this power play. Potzloff again for Eki. Gets it back. Mackey for Lindell, great movement, shot, save, and out of play.
I think that was
Great
a poke.
effort again. Was it ended up poked? It looked like he might have made the save. I often try to credit the goaltenders where we can.
I think I heard the ting right there, and the way it kind of shot up into the stands, I think that was the case there. He might have got a piece of it before it hit the post. Nonetheless, a bit of a bullet dodge right there for Djurgården. They do get the clear, and that will just about do it for the Frölunda power play. One more rush.
Emu able to keep this one in. Finds Playmaker. Back shot blocked. We're back to 5-on-5. Trouble for Stanley. Svetti's able to recover. 2 minutes to go. Tied at 1. Strumpon not able to keep that one in, but again, precious time winding off the clock. Precious in favor of Djurgården. An overtime point here, you never know, could be the difference maker by the end of the season, at risk of the commentator's curse here, but that is the situation we're looking at. As Playmaker across for Potzloff. That follow-up pass off the mark. They get it out of the zone. 40 seconds to play. Not to mention what a goal would mean. A late winner. Not to say, oh yeah, late winner guaranteed for Frölunda. Djurgården could steal this. You never know. As Sorsa has to kick that one away. Here's Amadi. That right-hand side. Pass knocked all the way back to the zone. But again, more time off the clock. Let's see what they can do now. Svetti, it looks like Sin. They're willing to kind of take their time. Miscommunication, though. Good job by Amadi to break it up. Trouble here for Djurgården. They get it out of the zone. 6 seconds to go. Chance for Lord Stanley. Past the Jungle Dog. Shot blocked. Svetti shot. Loose in front. We're going to overtime. A very valuable point earned by Djurgården and Sin. A chance to maybe steal it at the end. But indeed, we're going to OT.
Yeah, and you saw Frölunda in a bit of desperation on the defensive end right there, trying to block the shot, keep it away. Djurgården still got it towards the net, but it couldn't quite find a way. That was very, very hectic, and they're still right in it. Again, they could get this extra point here would be absolutely massive. It's already huge that they've secured the 1 point out of this one. Credit where credit's due to Sorsa for the 11 save performance so far, just allowing that 1 goal, and maybe a little bit of luck there with some of those shots on the power play and such, but he'll take it at this point after with some of the luck and fortune he received in that last one. And for this, it could go either way. Again, overtime, anything can happen. A bounce is all it takes. And once again, credit Lord Stanley. 17 faceoff wins to the 7 that Potzloff has been able to secure.
For Djurgården as well, inching that much closer with that point towards being able to avoid that potential automatic relegation spot, as Source is able to cover that one. We'll have a face-off in the attacking zone here for Frölunda. And again, we see this all the time. Top teams maybe just not able to... I don't know what it is. It could be a variety of different factors, but, again, these lower-level teams, or same level, I guess, but lower in the standings, able to get these valuable points off of some of these top teams. Helps them out a ton. As Sorsa plays it out, maybe misguided. Shot hit the post, and Sorsa is able to cover. Playing with fire there was the Djurgården netminder.
Yeah, that was an interesting decision right there as he kind of gloved it, kept standing, and tried to throw it out really quick. Almost came back to bite him right there.
Shot, rebound. Sorsa's there to make the cover one more time. All of this, and you could argue potentially from that passed out puck. I mean, the face-off would have been there regardless, but still. And indeed, Sin, it was mentioned before, we were questioning whether or not there'd be an overtime here today. Rebound, Sorsa there. It might have hit the side of the goal. Questioning whether or not there'd be an overtime today. Here we are. When will it end? Wednesday will always reign supreme. As it is for Frölunda. Into the attacking zone. Puck knocked away. Around the back of the net again, knocked away. Great performance here from Djurgården, all things considered, on the defensive side of things. Again, another valuable point up for grabs for both of these two teams. One looking to stay in the elite division, or at least have a chance to fight for their survival. The other trying to avoid what would be their lowest regular season finish in a long time, if not ever, at least, again, dating back to ECL 9 when Sin and I started our coverage here. That shot save, puck in the air, and Lord Stanley comes up with it. It's a Domedy. Trouble here for Strumpon. Teemu's able to come up with it. As Loim with the stretch pass. Jungle caught out. It is Playmaker. Round the back. Eki to the point. Shot blocked again. Great job by Djurgården at this stage of the overtime. Nearly 9 minutes gone. Eki the interception. Frölunda trying to get right back in on the attack. Here's Sveti. Now Lord Stanley. As it knocked loose by Eki at the last moment. That's the problem. You got two dynamic defenders back there. Great on the sticks. And then, of course, you have the forwards who are able to drop back and are also so defensively solid, Stin.
Yeah, it's just threats from all over the ice for Frölunda.
It's Loimu at the point. Shot saved by Sorsa. That one looked like it might have gone 5-hole, but another big stop.
Yeah, it's a tough deflection to read, as that was kind of a piece of it was blocked very, very high in the zone. It kind of took an awkward trajectory towards Sorsa, but he's able to stick with it and cover it up.
The draw. Lord Stanley able to get the win. Sveti's pass off the mark. We'll have another face-off in the Frölunda attacking zone here. And might this be the face-off chance that they need?
Yeah, it was a bit of an unforced error right there for Djurgården. They had more time to make the play, kind of rushed that pass a bit, but they do win the face-off.
Sveti again in possession. Again, be a bit of an ill-advised pass. Not able to hit its intended target. Potzlach doing the same thing, in fairness. Again, sudden death overtime rules. We will stay until we have a winner. Although, how I'd love if we could set it up for a shootout. At the end of a 20-minute overtime, I want to send it to a shootout. I wish we could have that. That would be tremendous. No more 5 overtime risk games. I think it might have been 4 in fairness last season, but I want regular season shootouts. Make it happen. Gotta be a way. Strumpon not able to hold on to that one. It's more of a defensive standstill at this point, so.
Yeah, I'd say every goalie out there collectively shaking their heads furiously at that proposition.
Here's Strumpon. That pass into the middle, dangerous area. Frölunda able to cover Sim. We're very rapidly approaching the real-time 2 minutes at the end of the period, so as well, that's when you got to be careful of potential penalties. That one sent around. Loimu in possession here now. Dishes off to Potzlach. Broken up again. Is this a battle of Frölunda and Djurgården or Frölunda and Havu? It's the back and forth action. Neither team really able to gain that much offensive zone time. Puck dumped in. Off the glass, bouncing around. Loimu handles it well. Here's Potzlach with a bit of a step. Stretch pass off the mark. Where was this defense from Djurgården in game 1? Heads up play. Strumpon protects. Chance hit the side of the goal on the back end. I think Cindy just ran out of room. Might have wanted to try to sweep that one 5-hole.
Yeah, that was a great play, man. What incredible job that Strumpon's able to do when he gets a tiny bit of time and space out there. He's really able to make some things happen.
There's Potzlach down low for Playmaker. Pass in front again, broken up. Playmaker looking at his options. Goes left. Loimu back down to him. Rocket pass broken up. Amadi has it. Up and again. It's down low. It will be Potzlach in possession now. 40 seconds to go in this first overtime. Good hit there to break it up, but Teemu still gains the zone. Great puck protection. Dishes down low. Pass again in front. Great job by the defense. They have the quick out, but unfortunately it corrals around. No icing. It deflected off of a Frölunda forward, I believe.
Oh, okay. I was going to say
a lucky break.
Yeah, the aim was kind of off for what they were looking to do, but yeah, that makes sense if it deflected off of a skater.
It's the only explanation I have. Otherwise, we got to call it out for what it is. A big trip there. Djurgården to the power play with 12 seconds to go in this overtime. Eki to the box. Sin, you talked about what a rarity it is to see him take a penalty. We've seen him take a couple.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate trip for them right there. It'll most likely carry over, but you never know. I mean, 12 seconds of real time is a lot in NHL 22. We'll see if Lord Stanley can get that face-off when he does.
Up the draw, shot saved by Tack. There's puck loose, they score! Djurgården pull off the upset over Frölunda in overtime. 2-1 final their biggest win of the season.
Absolutely massive right there. Getting 2 points on Frölunda is so much more than they probably could have hoped for coming into this matchup. They're probably hoping for 1. They secured that. They come out, they get this second one. Excellent job to capitalize on that power play. Pucks and bodies to the net. The shot on, kind of bouncing array out there, and it's Amity who's able to poke that one home. The hero in overtime for Djurgården, and they pull off an upset here, getting the split against Frölunda, who will walk away with 3 out of 4 points, but you gotta have that feeling. If they expect it out of themselves 4 out of 4, they will probably not be super happy with themselves, leaving with a bit of a bitter taste in their mouth. But credit where credit's due. Djurgården played an excellent second game in this set.
Absolutely incredible, Sin. Maybe the biggest upset we've seen this season. 16th Djurgården knocking off Frölunda. Again, earning that extra point. Sent from 7-0 to a 2-1 overtime win. Absolutely incredible.
Again, we've kind of seen this sort of thing from Frölunda in the past, where they've come out absolutely dominated team, and then the next game that team is sort of able to come out. Now, not to say that they didn't have a great performance. I mean, you saw the stats. The 18 shots are there. The 10+ minutes time on attack was all there. It's just Djurgården was able to survive, and the biggest, I think the most important thing about this game, they didn't get in the hole early. They sustained. They're able to settle into the game, probably get in a comfort zone where they wanted, and I believe they got that. Oh, yeah, they did. They got the first goal of the game as well. It was exactly what we talked about that they had to do in this one to have a chance. And you know what? They pulled off the upset. They got that second point in overtime.
Absolutely incredible. What a result for Djurgården, again, as they continue to try to stave off elimination. A huge result as well for the likes of Sabo Esports, who will continue to be above Frölunda in the standings. A monumental shift, I would say, in terms of so many different factors in the standings right now. Since it's Djurgården's first season in the Elite Division, and they have beaten multiple-time defending champions in Frölunda.
Wow.
I mean, you think about it as well. Looking at this lineup, Strumpon, and a rookie as well. 9 ECL seasons. It's his first in Elites. Scores that first goal. Amity, first season back in the Elite Division since season 9. We know he was capable, but Jungle Donk, Sveti, Sorsa, all rookies in this division. What a feather in the cap. They get the win against Frölunda.
And you weren't here for it, but last time we covered Djurgården, Strumpon was playing with a broken hand.
I remember hearing about that.
I don't know if it's still injured. It probably is by this point, but the fact that he was able to do what he was doing with still probably a hand not at 100% is impressive enough in itself. And man, just imagine what he would be able to do with the 2 good hands. I mean, he looked good. I mean, he was, again, with the tiniest bit of time and space, he was able to make some moves, create some space. You know, we saw him with the L skating, almost sneaking it home on that 5-hole of tactics, just running out of space. And I mean, at the end of the day, Djurgården, they got that W.
An incredible result. I don't know if we have the updated look at the standings here. Hopefully that has been input, and it doesn't look like it. We're still missing that one game, but that is okay. Again, Frölunda now on 16 games. It might have actually been input. Djurgården on.
No, we're missing both of the.
Yeah, we
both
are
of the
missing
games.
both those games.
Yep.
So that does mean Djurgården now 13 points, but 2 games at hand on HV71. And again, those 2 teams play each other in the final match day of the season. Incredible stuff. And that's not to say that Northern Ascendancy or Concord Gaming are safe at this point.
No.
It's a 30-game regular season. That's what I love about the standings every single year, Sin. Like, we love to focus on the playoffs, who the top seeds are going to be. But man, the battle, just the fight for survival is always so intense, as witnessed here. What a moment like this could mean for a team like Djurgården to maybe at least have the chance to stay in this Elite Division is absolutely stunning. What an upset. What a moment. One of the games of the season, dare I say, even with a 2-1 final. And it's one of those moments that makes it difficult to say that we got to head out for the day. But again, we will be back tomorrow. Friendly reminder, 1945 CET. It's 1:45 p.m. Eastern for those of you on the North American side of things. Sin and I will be back, as I do believe, again, the real highlighted matchup for us tomorrow, H-Reds taking on Färjestad. We also have Goons taking on ZSC Esports, and you just saw the standings.
They're close.
Needless to say, H-Reds and Färjestad more than likely making the playoffs. ZSC and Goons still have a lot to play for as well to try and secure their spot in the postseason. Sin, it's week 4. The action's heating up again as we get closer to the end of this regular season. What a day this was. Unbelievable stuff to end this.
Pretty ridiculous, unexpected, and I think the only thing for us to do is to let it speak for itself.
You can catch Sin on the YouTube side of things, Sin for the Win Productions. I am everywhere at Tugi24. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Again, sportsgamer.gg for all the information that you need. A big thank you to those behind the scenes that help make Sin and I look as good as we do. We will see you all tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. Get some sleep, whatever it needs to be. And we'll see you tomorrow for more Elite Division action.